Good evening. I'm Tina Monzon Palmo with Amado Pineda for News at 7. PAL ground technician Ramon Balang took the witness stand before the Agrava board at the SSS Magsaysay Hall this afternoon for clarificatory questions from the panel of interrogators. Balang stuck to his original testimony last December 28th and denied that he was ever interviewed by Captain Zacarias or Major Magno. We have the details from Ray Vidal.
By and large, Balang stuck to his original testimony. That seconds after the shot that felled Aquino, he turned around and saw Aquino falling between his two escorts, and that the man in blue was towards the front, appearing to be surrounded by 4 or 5 SWAT men, smiling, his palm upraised.
The man in blue is in a stationary position, and he's not even struggling. And if he happens to be moving from near the wheel of the air bridge,
Balang also denied that he was ever interviewed by Captain Zacarias or Major Magno. It was reported earlier that the CIS had asked Balang some 3 days after the shooting what he knew, but that he'd told the CIS he saw nothing. In today's hearing, Balang would say that his reluctance to give a statement was out of fear because he had a different version of the incident from that of the military. He said that in the course of his work, which included a 360-degree inspection of the plane's underbelly, he noticed the blue-shirted man walking about under the plane and in the direction of the SWAT van. Balang also said that when he heard the first shot, he reckoned that it must have been fired at the foot of the tube stairs. Today's hearing was spiced up by heated exchanges between Absicom Council Attorney Rodolfo Jimenez and the lawyers for Galman, Balang, and the National Bar Association. Jimenez questioned the procedures, and Justice Agrava had to step in to explain why the board had to adopt unorthodox methods.
Now, Mr. Jimenez, Mr. Hildawa, and public, Mr. Balang is a witness who has come to testify before the board, but at the same time expressing his fears for his future and his life.
The board appeared to have welcomed the Balang testimony, which it found to be most useful. Ray Vidal here for JAMA News.
Final edition, the top network news to this hour.
Good evening, News Watchers. Tonight's top stories in the final edition of News Watch: the dollar dealing operations of some 70 non-banking quasi-financing institutions are stopped on orders of the President. PAL ground technician Ramon Balang asserts in public testimony his claim that Rolando Galman couldn't have been Aquino's assassin. The Metro Manila Public High School teachers continue their walkout. Israeli forces are now under attack by Muslim guerrillas in southern Lebanon. And in sports, there will be no more hitches to the Third World Marathon and Siglacas run this Sunday. Technician Ramon Balang has expressed disbelief anew over the military version of the Aquino assassination. Balang explained to the Agrava board in a public hearing this afternoon why he did not believe that Rolando Galman was the assassin. Jose Carlos reports for Newswatch.
Ramon Balang stuck to his earlier private testimony before the board that from the position of the alleged assassin, it was impossible for Galman to have killed Aquino. In answers to questions by Attorney Rodolfo Jimenez, counsel for the Aviation Security Command, Balang admitted he did not see who actually shot Aquino. He said he was about 2 to 3 meters away from the scene of the assassination. He pointed out that he was on the way to the pivot post of Gate 8 when he heard a loud gunshot. What he saw next was Aquino starting to fall to the ground and Galman surrounded by 4 Absicom soldiers as if smiling to them.
About to fall, tapos nakita ko ngayon a man in blue being surrounded by 5 blue-covered old men.
Balang also denied claims by Captain Zacarias of the PCCIS and Major Magno of the MIA Police Force that they interviewed him after the incident. In those interviews, the 2 military officers alleged that Balang did not see anything. A drama unfolded at today's public hearing when Balang, before answering a question from Attorney Jimenez, consulted his lawyer. That drew a protest from Jimenez, who questioned the unfair procedure of the board and withdrew further questioning of the witness. However, Board Chairman Agrava defended this procedure and stressed that consultations with counsel before answering a question was one way of protecting witnesses like Balang, who, together with some other witnesses, have been fearful of their lives because of what they have seen about the Aquino assassination. The drama further deepened when Agrava likened Jimenez to Butch Aquino, brother of the late senator, who has refused to participate in the hearing. Jimenez, for his part, pointed out that, unlike Butch Aquino, he believed in the legality of the board and commented that he will never be like Butch Aquino or even his brother. That reference to the late senator by Jimenez drew critical reactions from Attorney Raul Gonzalez, president of the National Bar Association, and Attorney Lupino Lazaro, counsel for the Galman family.
The sense of propriety and decency of everyone, that a person who is already dead should not be included here. Because he's frustrated in asking questions from this witness, he should not allude to other people. They give it the wrong impression, obviously. That's why they are taking it that sensitively. But what did I mean by that? Mr. Aquino is now being considered as a martyr by the public. And when I said that, did I necessarily mean that I do not agree with that? You said it in a different context. No, sir. That is your own interpretation. And if I may say so, I may even put on record that I have a high regard for the man because when he was elected senator, I almost became his lawyer. I have no reason to cast aspersion on this man because I respect him as much as the rest.
Meantime, Japan's foreign ministry says it will not permit the Agrava board to conduct an investigation of the Aquino assassination in Japan. However, it will cooperate with any request for help in the probe. For KBS News, Jose Carlos.
Well, the fact-finding board resumes its public hearings tomorrow. Today, the board conducted preliminary interviews of the 10 new witnesses to the killing of former Senator Aquino last August 21st. This report from Bet Marcelo Santos.
10 of 15 PAL maintenance workers who were at the crime scene came for the preliminary interview. The fact-finding board also invited Ramon Balang, the only witness so far who has openly challenged, under oath, the military's theory on the Aquino assassination. With the worker statements put together, Board Chairman Justice Corazon Juliano Agrava said, and we quote, "We are more than ever convinced there were other people who witnessed the incident." End of quote. Justice Agrava said the workers came to provide information which they hope would help the board in its fact-finding mission. Lawyer Ernesto Herrera, representative of the labor sector in the board, had in fact questioned some military witnesses on certain points believed to be part of earlier information obtained from the workers. Herrera had said before that these workers are affiliated with his labor union. General Counsel Andres Narvasa did not confirm if Celso Loterinia or any of the workers volunteered information that contradicted the findings of military probers.
I can't tell you that yet. We will have to wait until they testify. But they have given statements to the military, as you know, many of them, most of them. But we want to hear them. The board wants to hear them and form impressions as to their credibility as witnesses.
The preliminary interview was conducted in the presence of Balang's counsel, Isidro Hildawa, and PAL lawyer Melvin Mendoza. Mendoza earlier told us that his appearance is for the protection of his company's interests, as earlier manifested when the first PAL witness, Jose Orias, testified. The workers dovetailed their experiences last August 21st, as they indicated their positions in the miniature model of the tarmac below Gate 8. At least one worker has identified himself in photographs taken by airport reporters. The appearance of the PAL maintenance workers has been tentatively scheduled for next week. Only then will we know if anyone among them would claim, like Ramon Balang, that he saw something different from the military's version of the Aquino assassination. For News Center 4, Beth Marcelo Santos reporting.
PAL ground engineer testified today at the Sandigan Bayan trial and asserted that Rolando Galman could not have been the gunman of former Senator Benigno Aquino Jr. This developed as 4 members of the Galman family today continued to defy the Sandigan Bayan by not showing up to testify against the 26 accused. More on today's hearing from Jose Carlos.
Ramon Balang, a PAL ground engineer, told the Sandigan Bayan that when Aquino was felled by a gunshot, Galman was in front of the victim, surrounded by APSICOM personnel near the SWAT van. He added that Galman was even smiling. Balang, one of the prosecution's vital witnesses, was among the 3 witnesses who took the witness stand at today's resumption of trial. The 2 other witnesses were Florante Magdamo and Ildefonso Torres, air traffic controllers of the Bureau of Air Transportation. Both of them who were monitoring through the TV cable system the docking of China Airlines plane Flight 811, bearing the former senator, did not see the shooting. Conspicuously absent at today's trial was Jean Fabian Ver, one of the 26 accused, who was granted by the court to waive his appearance during the trial proper. The other accused, including General Prosper Olivas, attended today's trial. For the 3rd time, the Galman family, who was supposed to testify today, defied the Sandigan Bayan's order. Their lawyer, Atty. Lupino Lazaro, was instructed by the court to convince Mrs. Attornina Galman, her daughter Marilyn, and Rolando Galman's son, Reynaldo, to come to court tomorrow without necessarily testifying if that is their wish. In his testimony, Balang said he was filling up the checklist regarding the plane's arrival underneath the air bridge of Gate 8 parallel to the stairway when he heard the first shot. He affirmed his earlier testimony that he did not see the actual assassination.
But the man was still alive when he was standing in Tarma. That's right.
Yes, Your Honor.
And how many minutes after you saw him standing in Tarma did you hear the shot?
I just glanced because I was about to build my...
And the next time you saw the man, he was already lying on the Tarma?
No, he was about to fall.
On the fall?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how about his escorts? Were they with him when he was about to fall?
The escort just let him fall.
About the man in blue? Was he not behind the
man in blue was near the van already. And then when I found my view, I saw him being surrounded by the observer personnel.
So at the time that the man in white was falling down, who was the man in blue?
He was just standing near the van.
Is that beside the man in white or behind the man in white?
No, slightly forward to the man in white.
Balang apparently had conflicting statements regarding the relative position of Galman when the assassination took place. Under cross-examination from Atty. Rodolfo Jimenez, the AFSICOM's counsel, Balang said Galman was